Good morning. Today I am going to be sharing some of the strategies that I have learned that work across content areas. One quote that really made sense to me is better learning will not come from finding better ways for the teacher to instruct, but from giving the learner better opportunities to construct. And one of those ways is using visual maps. Visual maps can help students to make meaning. So I'm going to talk about three different parts, and this video will be in different segments. The first part I'm going to talk about is before reading. So before students read, you can use a Venn diagram to build background. The steps in using a Venn diagram are figure out what you want to compare and contrast, and then you make a circle for each of the subjects. You'll label the circles, and you'll enter differences and similarities. So I will be using Our Town throughout the video to talk about how to use these strategies. The text Our Town, it starts in the early 1900s. So I had students compare 1907 and today. In looking at it from that perspective, you're building background so that everyone starts on the same page when you're reading a text. Before reading, you can also use the Frayer model, which is a graphic organizer that is going to help students to determine and clarify meaning of vocabulary words that are going to be important to the text. Best practice is to introduce 5 or less vocabulary words a day and make sure that you review them and expose students to those same words at least 5 times. So I'll show you what that model looks like. And in defining the word or the concept ignorance, you would start with the definition, which would be lack of knowledge or information. Look at facts or characteristics. So some things that are definitely, if we said this is ignorance, it might be a lack of knowledge or information or education. It might be a little different in each instance, but we would look at facts or characteristics. Then we would have the student think about examples, and 2 examples that students came up with for what would be considered ignorance would be the world is flat, or tobacco is good for you. And then look at non-examples. So if one has knowledge or education, we wouldn't expect that they are ignorant. The next example before reading would be using the Frayer model for characters, including what you know about the characters before reading. And you can use your own, organizer. So I just used the example of Emily, and Emily is, before we even look at the text, students can gain some information about the characters when they're previewing it. So Emily, we know she's 16, she's a student, she's a sister, and she's a daughter. The next segment that I'm going to introduce is what to do during reading. And the 3 things that I'm going to share with you that have been effective for students are the close method, the Venn diagram, and the character summary map. So I look forward to sharing that with you.